Welcome back to Mega Music Memories, the podcast that remembers and celebrates the unsung heroes of our youth who earned permanent places in our hearts with their amazing music. My name is Matt Gibson. Join me as I interview pop stars from the 90s and noughties who, in my view, don't always get the plaudits they deserve for the magnificent music they made and the magical memories they left us with. So, if you're a nostalgia nerd like me, subscribe and stay tuned as we continue our journey looking back at an amazing era of pop music. If you love pop, if you love nostalgia, and if you want to hear your favourite blasts from the past, reflecting on their careers and giving us the lowdown on what they're up to now, then you're in the right place. So buckle up, guys, because we've got some serious reminiscing to do. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mega Music Memories, and a special thank you to those of you who have been supporting the podcast and helping it to get noticed by others by rating the pod and reviewing it wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you don't miss future episodes by subscribing to the pod so you'll be notified whenever there's more new content for you to listen to. In today's episode, I am speaking with Alida Swart, who was one quarter of the 1990s girl band Vanilla. Alida, alongside Sharon Selby and sisters Frances and Alison Potter, formed Vanilla in 1996 and gained notoriety a year later with their hugely memorable debut single No Way No Way, which peaked at number 14 in the UK singles chart. A performance on Top of the Pops, regular television appearances and a second top 40 single followed for the girls before they eventually went their own separate ways. No Way No Way heavily sampled Piero Umiliani's piece of music Mah Na Mah Na, which is most closely associated with the Muppets. It was a divisive single and one that certainly captured people's attention and is still very well remembered and frequently played to this day. I'm really excited to bring you this interview with Alida because, you know, for all the strong reactions No Way No Way elicits from people, there's very little authoritative information out there in the public domain about the single and those who made it. Rumour and innuendo about the single and about Vanilla's origins tend to fill the vacuum instead. So I'm pleased to say that the interview with Alida gives us a much fuller picture of what went on behind the scenes, clarifies some details and addresses various myths head on. We also find out what all the girls are up to now, and we even have an exclusive for you as we get to listen to snippets of some of Vanilla's unreleased tracks. So I started the interview by asking Alida how Vanilla were originally formed.
Me and Sharon, we went to school together,
right.
But we didn't hang around with each other at school. So a bit later on, we kind of went out in the same group of friends, and then we just ended up being really good friends.
Yeah.
And then with Frances, I was working with Frances, and then I met her sister Alison through just going around Prince's house.
Yeah.
And then it's quite a funny story actually, because me and Sherry were doing a lot of singing anyway, but we were looking for a studio to do some recording. And we all lived in North London. So me and Sherry were doing the general ring round to studios in London to try and get some time and explain what we wanted to do and that type of thing. So we left a voicemail on this particular studio. And then Frances called us up and said, I've just spoken to, because she knew one of the guys from the studio, which is called Next Room. And then Frances was like, they're looking for a girl group. He's asked me to bring some friends along. Are you interested? And we were like, yeah, of course. So we went along. And then we're sitting, I think me and Sherry got there early, and Frances was running a little late, and we're sitting there, and the guy comes in and he's like, I'm really sorry I'm late, I'm just going to get set up. Put his voicemail on, went out the room, came back in the room, and me and Sherry are sitting there thinking, is that us? So we'd actually left a voicemail on that particular studio's phone, which was really, really, really strange. And then we met the producers, and then they introduced us to Didier, and he explained he wanted to produce a girl group. So the studio started writing tracks for us, No Way and True to Us, and it just basically started from there.
Great. So there was no auditioning or anything, and you all just knew each other, and you managed to get a deal, basically.
Yeah. In the studio, we had to obviously sing the song, and so they could see how we sound, and change vocals around to people singing different parts and things like that. So we kind of did have an audition, but yeah, it happened quite fast.
Okay. And when was this? Was this 1996? Wikipedia says that Vanilla were founded in 96. Is that correct? Does that sound about right?
I think so. I know we were out in 97 with No Way. So yeah, we probably did all get together in 1996.
So this is you signing EMI, is that correct?
It's correct, yeah.
So they were a huge record label back then, weren't they? I think it's one of the so-called Big Four at the time, I believe. So yeah. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, we were pretty excited, as you can imagine. 20-year-old girls. Well, Alison was I think she was 16 or 17 at the time. So just me and Sherry wanted to get into the music industry forever anyway. Really excited, especially under EMI label. Yeah.
And what can you tell us about that deal? Was it just like a deal for a certain number of tracks?
So we had a 2-single deal with option for an album.
Right.
So we did No Way, No Way and True to Us. Didn't get to do the album part with EMI. But
yeah, so an album was never recorded ultimately.
No, we did record more tracks.
Yeah.
In line to do an album, but with EMI we didn't get around to doing that.
Okay. So what can you tell us about the original concept of Vanilla? You know, every band's got their own kind of like identity and sort of, sound, if you like. Was there a kind of vision for what Vanilla were supposed to be?
I think every girl group back then was trying to aspire to be the Spice Girls. And there was probably quite a few of us out there at the time, girl groups. We just wanted to be fresh-faced, girl next door, having fun. We all knew each other. We loved music. And our first track was very gimmicky. The producer, our manager, bought the rights to the Muppets theme. So he wanted to do something quite gimmicky with that. So then the studio came up with No Way, No Way, which we quite liked because it was quite cheeky and quite fun. And yeah, we really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So when your manager purchased the rights for Mah Na Mah Na, which is obviously very famous piece of music, that become closely associated with the Muppets. It'd been used before in various other TV shows as well, the Benny Hill Show and others. And it can be traced all the way back to being used originally in some Italian softcore documentary film, I believe. That's where my internet research has led me.
I've heard it in the Mah Na Mah Na advert recently. Yeah, you do hear it, snippets of it everywhere.
Well, how familiar were you with that piece of music before it was used in No Way, No Way?
Only through the Muppets.
Yeah.
Because I was quite young at that time, so what stood out for me was the Muppets in that tune.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been played in quite a few adverts. I keep walking into the living room, walking out the living room, and I'm like, can I hear it? Yeah.
And what's that like when that does happen? Like, is it like, does it give you like
it just
flashbacks?
Makes me giggle.
Sorry?
It just makes me giggle.
Yeah.
It's really catchy as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't know about these things as well, so I could be wrong, but it feels to me like acquiring such a sort of recognisable piece of music would have been quite a big deal. I mean, I don't know how much you know about this, but like, I'll ask just in case. Like, was it considered quite a significant coup when your manager managed to sort of acquire the rights to that piece of music?
You know, I don't really know. I mean, Didier, he's passed away recently, bless him.
Right.
But he used to kind of hang around with the Beatles. Right. So he was quite well known in the music industry. So I don't think he actually knew how big acquiring that piece of music would be, really.
Mm.
I mean, not just for us as the girl group Vanilla, but just to be used in everything like TV and adverts and things like that.
Mm. I'm sort of curious about the timeline of when Vanilla formed and when the decision was made by your management to go with No Way, No Way as the first single. I'm just trying to like establish if you or any of the other girls ever felt like there had been sort of any element at all of kind of being brought in under false pretenses. Like, was the band ever sold to you as something that it turned out not to be in the end? Do you know what I mean? You know, with it being quite gimmicky, that the first single.
No, I think we were well aware of. We'd heard the music, and we did laugh because we all know it from the Muppets.
Yeah.
And then when they did wrote No Way, No Way, and we heard it, and then started recording it, we really liked it because it is very catchy, and for us, we were young girls anyway, and yeah, we really enjoyed recording it. It was good, especially doing the video as well at Brockwell Lido. Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the video. So it was shot at it was shot at Brockwell Lido. Lido.
Yeah.
That's right. Because there's a contradiction on the internet. So someone somewhere says it was a different one, but yeah, I don't know.
No, but, definitely Brockwell Lido in Brixton.
Okay. Is that still there? And is it still open?
It is.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw it last year. Actually, it was on the TV for something. But yeah, the day of the video shoot had to be there at silly o'clock in the morning. Hair, makeup, outfits. Yeah, it was an absolutely roasting hot day as well, which didn't help. And you've got a pool there and you can't even jump into it.
Yeah, oh dear. As you say, it was shot on this blazing hot day, so I'm guessing it was in the summer. The single was released in, I think, November, wasn't it? It kind of strikes me as like a kind of like what should be kind of like a summer hit. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it was kind of like being brought out just in the run up to Christmas. Like, did that strike you as unusual at the time?
Not really, because we were literally doing like a UK tour of schools and going to some nightclubs and performing, and just generally just doing a tour of the UK to do the promotion for the single. So yeah, we did that for quite a bit. And then, yeah, the release date, I think, did move from when it was actually supposed to be released, and then they brought it out at Christmas. But it didn't do too badly.
No, not at all. No, number 14, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it might have been able to like break the top 10 if it was in the summer, maybe, or something like that. That's all.
I don't know. I think somehow Christmas kind of felt right for it, because it is kind of gimmicky, and I think the Spice Girls had kind of exploded a little bit more then as well. So more girl groups were coming out. We were coming out. Yeah.
Well, I think Brockwell Lido needs one of those blue plaques. You know. I might go down there just to. I mean, I live up in the north, but I might go down there just to do a bit of tourism.
In the
north. So, speaking about No Way, No Way, for an article about novelty hit singles, you told The Guardian in 2014, when we first heard it, we just laughed. Then we looked at each other. Two of us wanted to be doing R&B.
Yeah.
We thought we might as well do it. So, reading that, it sounds to me like the group had some reservations about the single. Is that fair to say, or did you just think it was good?
Me and Sherry, we were working on R&B music at the time, so I guess thinking about doing pop, we hadn't even really thought about it, but we did it because we thought, well, you know, we'll do it. It might open doors to different music that we could be doing or writing. Yeah, so yeah.
I mean, that was just why I was wondering, like, if you were kind of brought in, as I say, like perhaps under like being told, yeah, you're going to be this kind of like R&B band or anything like that, or, you know, that was just what kind of made me wonder, you know, was there any kind of like misrepresentation going on at all? But it sounds like they were quite straight up with you.
Yeah.
What did you think of the sort of final outcome of both the video and single combined?
I quite liked it. We enjoyed recording the video, and then when we saw it for the first time, we were really, really pleased with it. We really enjoyed it.
And No Way, No Way, it got released in New Zealand as well, didn't it? It got to number 24, I believe, over there.
Yeah.
Do you know why New Zealand? And did you get to do any promotion over there at all?
No. We didn't get to do promotion over there. I know our song hit a few countries out there. I can't remember all the numbers that it got to, but yeah, it definitely got out there. Yeah.
And you guys performed No Way, No Way on Top of the Pops. What was that like?
Amazing. Because Top of the Pops was down from where we were living at the time. It wasn't that far away from us, and I'd been there before in the crowd. And to perform on Top of the Pops is like, oh my God, that's one thing I'm really glad that we did within the group. Yeah,
it's a huge box ticked, isn't it? It's amazing.
I kind of miss Top of the Pops.
yeah, I miss it too. What was that like? Like, did you get to like meet any of the other people who were on the show on your episode or anything like
that? No. We got put in a room, and then we had a day of interviews with people, as well as being there. So we didn't really get to see anybody. Our record company sent us flowers, which was really, really nice. And and then we got to perform on there, which was amazing.
But during this era, presumably your paths would have crossed with some other high-profile figures. Do you have any stories to tell, or just any like surreal moments that you can recall from that period?
What to do with?
With like, just like meeting any like big names or anything like that, or being starstruck or anything like that.
God,
because you were on all the like Saturday morning TV shows and stuff like that, weren't you? And kind of like
so we kind of Five. We did some tours with Five, with Steps. God, who else? It's quite a few people. Another Level. I once jumped in Five's tour bus, and then they started driving off. Then I jumped out of their tour bus.
You basically got kidnapped by Five.
Yeah. A little bit, and then they dropped me off. And then we once hit, I can't remember what they were called, but there was a girl group who was performing, and I think we hid one of their shoes, which was really naughty.
And around this time, Vanilla kind of took quite a ribbing, good-natured ribbing, but ribbing nonetheless on The Big Breakfast.
Yeah.
And you all regularly took part in the Vanilla's Thrillers feature on the show, which I don't recall. I mean, I was watching around that time. I don't really recall that. What was that all about?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Fair enough. But you got to take part in the final week of shows for Johnny Vaughan and Denise Van Outen, didn't you? I mean, that was just an absolute classic sort of era of that show on a great show, and you got the chance to be on it and be part of that final week.
Quite a few times we were on that show.
Yeah, I mean, so what was that like?
Yeah, it was good. Zig and Zag, we were doing a slot with them, which was quite funny because you see how it's really done. That was funny. And yeah, just interacting with everybody. We was on there with Atomic Kitten as well. They were on there. I got to meet Tom Hanks. He was on there.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a really, really good show. It was a shame when it ended.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about The Big Breakfast there, but kind of looking at the bigger picture around that time, I felt like that was just a really kind of distinctive and exciting era of popular culture in the late 90s, with music from the likes of you and, other bands like, Shampoo, and like TV shows like a lot on Channel 4, like The Big Breakfast, like The Word, like the Girly Show, and Euro trash and stuff like that. I mean, you were sort of part of that kind of like distinctive and memorable and fun era of like TV and popular culture. Was it enjoyable at the time to be a part of? And did you feel like you were part of something quite exciting and interesting at the time?
Yeah, definitely. We enjoyed doing the Big Breakfast. I don't think we did The Word, although I used to watch The Word.
I think it was maybe just a little bit early.
Yeah.
You came like maybe just a little bit after The Word, didn't you?
Yeah. It was an exciting time for us. I think the single was out, and we were enjoying doing all the promotion for it and everything, all the TV, all the radio. We've done a lot of radio as well. So yeah, that was a really good era for us.
We know that No Way, No Way is often placed in lists of the so-called, worst songs or worst videos of all time or of the 90s and stuff like that. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't feel... I mean, everyone's got their opinion. People are going to like the song. There's going to be people who aren't going to like the song.
Yeah.
And I guess in this day and age, a lot of people might say this, social media nowadays, there's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and that wasn't around when we were around. I think it'd be a lot different if that was around. Yeah, it'd be very much different. But so the comments we were reading were off like YouTube. We were played a lot on the box. So reading things in magazines and things like that, we kind of just brushed it off. We didn't really think too much about it, or we just wouldn't bother reading it. So it didn't really faze us. But I guess in this day and age, I don't know, it could have been different. We could have...
different as in worse, kind of like a bit more relentless with social media and so on.
Constantly checking it all the time and listening to horrible comments, and I think you forget about the nice comments after a while, and it just becomes too addictive. So I'm quite glad that wasn't around when we were around.
And if you examine the lyrics to No Way, No Way, there is like quite a clear theme in the song of like, female empowerment and like sisterhood and not putting up with nonsense from men. And I mean, I don't want to get too serious here or maybe overthink a song that I think everyone, including yourself, would acknowledge is, a novelty pop song. But even so, has there ever been any part of you that's been a bit frustrated that the kind of sentiment of the song maybe sometimes gets overshadowed by this debate about, whether it's fun and kitsch or too much of a novelty? And, do you ever think that kind of like the message of the song gets lost a little bit? And do you find that frustrating at all?
No, to us it was just tongue in cheek. We're always together, never apart. Sisters through and through. To us it was just tongue in cheek. We didn't really dwell too much on the lyrics and what it meant, and we just enjoyed singing the song, and it was good for us.
Do you have anything to say to the haters, or is it just a case of like rising above it and when they go low, you go high and that kind of thing?
I don't really have anything to say. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Or you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's a bit like Marmite, really. But we enjoyed doing it at the time, and there's quite a lot of people who did enjoy listening to it. So, and it's still being played and listened to even to this day. So, we're really happy.
I really enjoyed listening to it, and I wasn't alone. And as you say, I mean, one of my favourite things to do is to just sit and kind of like flick around the music TV channels, the retro ones, and No Way, No Way is on still a lot. And the thing about that is, you know, these are proper TV channels with, you know, the operators' businesses, you know, and they need to keep going and they need to keep making money. And they wouldn't play music and they wouldn't show videos that weren't liked by people. You know, they just wouldn't do it because they'd go out of business. So, you know, I think there's a lot to be said for that. And, you know, you made a lot of people very happy at the time, and you still do by providing these great memories, you know, almost 25 years on, and long may it continue.
Thank you.
So, okay, so the next question, I mean, look, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this already, but I do just feel obliged to just address it. There have been rumours that I'm sure you're familiar with, that Vanilla was signed as a result of, I don't know, someone at the record company losing a bet, or record producers claiming they could get a really cheesy song into the charts. You know, is there any kind of like truth to that, or are these rumours just a load of nonsense?
Nonsense.
Absolutely.
We had a 2-single deal with option for an album, and EMI, I mean, they didn't just drop us, they dropped Chumbawamba, they dropped like loads of other people around the same time. Yeah. So I don't know something must be going on internally at EMI, but you know, we were just one of the people who they just got rid of at the time. Yeah.
So the CD single for No Way, No Way consisted of 4 tracks. One was obviously the original radio edit that we're all familiar with. But the other 3 were dance remixes, one of which, the Progress radio edit, comes in and what I would suggest is quite a radio airplay friendly 4 minutes and 2 seconds long, and it kind of retains pretty much all of the vocals from the original track, and you know, it maybe sounds a little less cheesy than the original radio edits. I mean, I'm a huge fan of cheese, so I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just sort of saying it's noticeably different. And the CD single for Vanilla's second song, as you've already mentioned, True to Us, also features a remix of No Way, No Way. And this one is by Xenomania. For any listeners who aren't aware, they are producers who have worked with the likes of Kylie and Cher and Sophie Ellis-Bextor, Pet Shop Boys, The Saturdays, Sugar Babes, Girls Aloud, and loads more. And this remix has found its way online in recent years, and the response to it, as far as I can see, is like basically like universal praise. So I apologise. I know this is a long-winded question, but firstly, like, did you hear those remixes at the time? And if you did, like, what did you sort of think about them?
Oh, we loved those remixes. They were like our nighttime promotional remixes. So when we're going to perform at the clubs, there would be the catchy, dancey, like our kind of club mix, so to speak. Yeah, we really enjoyed performing those. Yeah, really good remix as well.
Really good remixes. Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, I briefly alluded to it before, but True to Us was Vanilla's second single. So what can you sort of tell us about that?
True to Us, yeah, we loved True to Us. I guess we had the conversation of, should that have been our first single? But then to get us out there, I think you do need something gimmicky. So True to Us was probably our perfect second single. And we really, it kind of, it was a little bit less gimmicky, bit more mature. Yeah, we really loved doing the video for that as well.
Yeah.
They didn't. So with True to Us, they kept changing the release date, so it didn't actually do as well as No Way, No Way. If they had released it, I think it would have done better than No Way, No Way. But I think the release date got changed about 4 times.
Yeah, I noticed that doing my research. It got released 6 months after No Way, No Way, which feels quite a long time. And in the kind of quite fickle music industry, you know, people forget about artists and bands, don't they, if they're not constantly kind of being shoved in front of people's faces. So it seemed to me like at the time, you know, singles were coming out for artists and bands maybe every kind of 3 or 4 months. So do you know why the release date kept on being changed so often?
I don't. We would still do it, going out doing promotion for it, and I'm not too sure why they kept moving the date, to be honest.
It's a shame because, like I say, it is a really good track, isn't it? Like you say, it is more conventional. I think it has like a really kind of like strong like techno electro dance.
Definitely.
To it. And it really kind of like fits neatly into that kind of lighter end of the dance music spectrum with like other tracks from that kind of 80s, 90s sort of era. I mean, was the kind of vanilla sound, if you like, always intended to be more kind of like electro dance? And was it maybe a case of like the kind of like juggernaut that was No Way, No Way maybe kind of distracting somewhat from the kind of wider project that Vanilla was, and this kind of like maybe kind of more dancey kind of vibe?
Our tracks, so all the tracks that we recorded were very poppy, maybe with a slight dance element in there, but more towards pop than anything else. It's funny, one of the girls sent me actually at the weekend some of the songs that we'd recorded, and listening back to it, I think if we'd released it, it would have done really, really well. But we didn't get that opportunity. But our music was really, really poppy, and maybe if we got that opportunity to do the album, there would have been some other genres of music, because then we would have put our influence into it a bit more. But it's quite poppy.
So what can you tell me about that track that you got sent to you?
It was called Spin Me Round. I don't know if you want me to play you a bit. There you go.
Yeah, that sounds really getting into that. I was waiting for the chorus. Yeah. Well, do you know, Alida? I think it's a shame, you know, that. I mean, I love No Way, No Way. It's a great song, and it's lots of fun, isn't it? And we all have really fond memories of it. But I feel like it kind of became this thing that maybe kind of like distracted from the rest of the music that you wanted to do, and almost like maybe I wonder if it maybe held you back ultimately, in the bigger picture.
What is doing this type of music?
Yeah, because like you say that it sounds like true to us, and maybe the other music that you recorded was kind of like less gimmicky, and I wonder if you might have been able to kind of like do an album and maybe gone on to achieve like some really big success if No Way, No Way wasn't this kind of like big distraction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if it wasn't the first song and the music was a bit more serious, and yeah, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't have any regrets doing No Way, No Way. It's still out there. We're still getting royalties from it because it is still out there. It's still being played. When I get a statement, it's like it's been played on TV, and I'm like, well, I haven't seen it on TV. I've seen it on adverts on TV, but like it's been in I can't remember what it's been in. It's been in various countries as well, and I just look at it and I think, oh my god, it's still going. 20 years on and it's still being played and still going. So
20 years plus. 20 years plus. I mean, how that must be a good feeling to know that people are still enjoying your music all over the world, and decades later, it must feel nice.
Yeah, it is really nice. It is really nice. Yeah, there was I think somebody on Instagram, I think it's called Hunsnet, put our No Way No Way video on there, and it got 82,000 views on there. So and there's comments on there, people who remember it, people who liked it, people who thought it was cheesy, but yeah, it's still out there. People are commenting on it. You must like it a little bit if you're commenting on it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's fantastic. So speaking of like further tracks, on Wikipedia, it says there was a single called Realize and a cover of These Boots Are Made for Walking. Is that ringing any bell? Are either of those ringing any bells to you?
Yeah, so we recorded Boots Made for Walking, but we obviously didn't get to release it, and then Jerry Halliwell did.
Oh, right.
She did a rendition of it. So we were quite gutted that we didn't get there first with that song, because we really enjoyed recording it. It was really good fun. Yeah. And then with Realise, after we'd not been with the record company anymore, I decided that I wanted to go down the route of working with a different producer and trying to put my own music together. So I didn't do Realise on that. So it was just the girls who did Realise. But it's a good track. I do like it. When I heard it, I really liked it.
Is it out there anywhere for us to hear, or is it kind of like behind closed doors, locked away in some vault somewhere?
I've got it here as well.
All right.
Did you want to hear it a bit? I'm not gonna keep on waiting. All the rules you keep on breaking. Don't want no if, when, or maybe. That's it, I'm through with you, baby. You made me suffer inside, that made me open my eyes. You made me see something true. Very catchy.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gutted. Do we know who owns this music?
The music was done by Next Room.
Yeah.
So it's still the same producers who did No Way, No Way.
Mm. Maybe we need to get some sort of internet campaign going to get it released and get it out there into the world, because there are fans and there'll be fans who want to hear more.
Yeah.
It's a shame that, there's this music that is,
sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there, isn't it? It's not,
Yeah, in the archives.
Yeah, I mean, least they could do is just put it out there. I mean, if nobody listens to it, nobody listens to it. Who cares, But I'm sure that there would be an audience. There would be an audience, I'm sure.
That's true. Maybe I'll have a word. See if we can get it on Spotify.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I would love that. So you mentioned there you eventually decided to leave Vanilla and pursue a solo career. So what sort of prompted that kind of decision?
Just because previously I'd written loads of songs, and I'd done a few recordings of songs with various producers, and then I started recording an R&B album with another producer, and I got 6 tracks in, and yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I think some part of me was like, I think you have to get really good and matched up with the right people when you're doing music, just so they understand where you're kind of coming from with the music you're writing, and then they can input their ideas and you put your ideas. Because as you can see, I haven't brought anything out. It's just dormant, really. But I wrote half an R&B album.
Oh,
I know.
That's amazing. Again, it's bittersweet. That's amazing. That's amazing that you wrote your own stuff and you've recorded it as well. It's great that you've done it, but it's kind of like, then it's really sad that it's just sitting there and it's like this like half finished. I mean, even though there's not a full album, like, is there a way that you can just? I mean, again, I don't know what the kind of like ownership situation is. Do you like own that music, or
yeah?
So what's stopping you from like putting it out there for people to hear? Are you just a bit?
Nothing really. No excuse. Should have done it ages ago, really. I guess life kind of takes over, doesn't it? You get back into the real world, and then, time goes by. Like Steps and Natalie and Brulia, they're all coming back out again with songs. Yeah. Maybe I'll have the right time.
Well, I mean, would you not be tempted to just kind of like just put it out there on YouTube or something, like not with the expectation that I'm going to get signed or anything, or I mean you never know, who knows, but not with that kind of like expectation, but just to put it out there just so people can hear it and just kind of like do it for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you've written these songs, they come from you. You've put your heart and soul into them, and why don't you just kind of like just put them out there to be like enjoyed by people, and if people want to, if one person engages with it and really likes it, then that's a great thing, isn't it?
That is totally. I might have to start doing that now. You prompted me to have a thought there. Maybe I will start putting it out there.
Well, I, for one, would certainly be interested and would really like to hear that music from you. And I'm not alone in that, and the listeners of this podcast, I'm sure would also be really interested. So, and I would certainly direct them in point them in that direction if you did choose to do that. So, I would encourage you to just give that a shot. Just stick it out on YouTube or Spotify or something, and just see if anybody, it just takes anyone's fancy to just have a listen to it.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. If I do it, I'll let you know.
Oh, thanks, Alida. So when you did decide to leave the band, how did the other girls kind of like react to that?
They reacted really well to it. They'd never stop anyone from not pursuing a solo career or wanting to do a different genre of music or anything like that. The girls are very, very supportive. If it was one of the other girls who were leaving, we'd just support them 100%.
Yeah. So you were never like replaced with anybody else or anything like that you're aware of? Like,
I was.
No, yeah. Oh no.
I was, yeah. They did a few London gigs, but I'm not sure what became of it after.
Right.
Why they didn't get further or anything like that, I have no idea.
Yeah. So what's your relationship like with the other girls now? Are you still in touch?
Yeah, good. Yeah. I met up with Sherry about a week ago. She's fine, very well. Frances is very well, and Alison. Yeah, they're all really, really well. Happy, healthy, although Alison had COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know what can you tell us a bit about what they're up to and what they're doing these days?
Alison, she's a mum of 5.
Wow. Flipping
I know. 5 gorgeous
No
children.
time for a vanilla reunion for Alison, is there?
No, not at all. Yeah, she's very busy.
Yeah.
And then Sherry, she does photography, some events, and Frances she's owns properties, lets properties out. So yeah.
And you're working in the events industry today, aren't you?
I am, yes. Yeah, I work in the events industry. Very busy time for the events industry at the moment after COVID just stopped all events altogether. And now it's slowly coming back out. A lot of virtual, hybrid events going on, but live is slowly coming back. Indeed.
And how did you get into that industry?
I just went through a friend and just spoke to my friend, and then, as you do, go through a string of interviews, calls, interviews, and then I got the job, and I've enjoyed it ever since. I've been doing it now for nearly 7 years. So
So what sort of events are you involved with organising? Are they musical, or just is it anything?
It's more corporate events, award ceremonies, corporate events.
Are there any like skills that you developed from your time with Vanilla and being in and around the music industry that are kind of like transferable to your career today? Like, stuff that you learned back then that you can now use in your job now?
I'm quite a fun, outgoing person. So work's quite fun. It does get very busy. I have the work ethic of just taking everything and just running with it. So events, they're so busy, you don't even get time to think sometimes. And so, same with the group. up early. When I was in the group, we were up early, driving on to our next promotion or radio, TV and stuff like that. And with events, it's kind of the same thing. You kind of have to get up early sometimes, check everything, make sure everything's running smoothly. If you have any hiccups, you just have to deal with them, come up with solutions. Yeah. And it's a very busy time at the moment for us. Everyone's busy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I bet everyone's just so keen to get on with doing new things now after being so dormant for 18 months or 2 years even almost.
Yeah, I bought my other half likes the Pussycat Dolls. I bought him tickets to go and see them. So we're still waiting for dates for that to go and see that. So yeah, hopefully be soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, I know that you are unbelievably busy because you've got to go away to another meeting shortly, haven't you? So,
I have.
So thank you so much for speaking to us. It's been really enlightening, kind of like learning about, you know, your career with Vanilla and you know, No Way No Way is this kind of like really big song that everybody remembers and everybody has lots of opinions of, but there's very little information about the people who put it together out there in the public domain. So it's really nice to be able to talk to you and kind of like fill in some of those gaps, really. So yeah, it's been really lovely. So
thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. And best of luck with the future in your work, but also, you know, I would love to maybe hear some of that music if you feel like just putting it out there and you know, I think lots of people would be interested in hearing it, and we at Mega Music Memories would certainly give it, you know, a bit of a plug. So you know, that's
thank you. I will. I'll let you know if I put anything out there.
All right. Well, thanks, Alida. Really lovely to speak to you, and yeah, good luck.
Too. Thank you.
So that was my interview with Alida Swart from Vanilla. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it goes some way towards answering a few questions and getting some insight from an obviously highly reliable and authoritative source about Vanilla, who, despite having only ever released 2 singles, continue to generate a lot of intrigue and animated discussion today, almost 25 years later. A big thank you to Alida. As you heard there, she was really nice and a really great sport for answering all sorts of different questions that I know a lot of you guys will have been curious about. No Way No Way was such a memorable song and such an iconic video for many people of a certain age and generation. It does, as we know, split opinion, but I'm firmly in the camp of being absolutely in love with it. As I say, I love nothing more than flicking around the retro music TV channels and having a right old nostalgia binge, and it's so cool when No Way No Way comes on. Like Alida, I love its cheekiness, its tongue-in-cheek approach, and just how much fun it exudes. And look, if the purpose of art is to inflame and stimulate debate, then as far as I'm concerned, No Way No Way is a stone-cold classic. You know, we're still listening to it today, almost 25 years later, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're still enjoying it in another 25 years' time. It was really nice to hear that the Vanilla Girls are all still in touch and remain good friends to this day. It was cool to find out what they're all up to now, that they're all doing well for themselves and having success in their post-girl band careers. Thank you to Alida for sharing with us some previously unheard music. It was great to hear more from the Vanilla vault, even if it is tinged with some sadness that its accessibility is very limited. It's nice to know that Alida continued her own musical journey by writing and recording some original material. And I know listeners to this podcast will join me in encouraging her to put it out there online so us fans can listen to it and get another extra scoop of vanilla. There's plenty more to come from us here at Mega Music Memories. I'm in talks with a handful of potential upcoming guests and hoping to do 1 or even 2 new interviews this coming week, including with an artist who had a #1 single in the UK back in 1998. If you enjoy hearing from my special guests, please support the podcast by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and giving us a 5-star rating. It really does help us to get seen by other people, attract more listeners, and continue to grow the podcast. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any future episodes. And if you have any feedback or suggestions of guests you'd love to hear from in future episodes of the pod, say hi to us on Instagram at Mega Music Memories or on Twitter at Mega Memories. And you can also get in touch with us via email at megamusicmemories@gmail.com. So thank you again for listening. Tell a friend about the podcast, spread the word, and stay tuned for more Mega Music Memories.